Okay, we are drawing a flower that is inspired by the artist Georgia O'Keeffe, and we are going to draw simple lines and shapes and then do some painting with watercolor crayons. So we're going to start by making a circle in the middle of the paper. And if you don't have watercolor crayons, of course you could use just regular watercolors or whatever paint you have. So I would suggest that you draw in pencil first. I am drawing with a crayon because I have practiced this and I already know what I want to do. I've already got it all planned out. Inside of this big circle, I'm going to draw smaller circles. And I'm realizing now I forgot to put my name at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to fill that up. All right, then around my circle, I'm going to make a zigzag line. It's like drawing little triangles that are connected to the circle and connected to each other side by side, going all the way around my circle. And then around that, I did curved lines or bumps, like drawing little hills going around. All right, and then I'm going to draw from the center and go out. Now, Georgia O'Keeffe made her flowers enlarged, so you don't see the whole flower. You don't see the petals all the way to the end. They go off the paper. And I will link in the description below some resources for the artist Georgia O'Keeffe. I found a really nice book that is a read aloud, and it's about the artist. And then I also thought you might like to read Eric Carle's book. That is about a flower. So again, I can link that in the description below. There might be a Storyline online book too. Okay, so the next step, after I would draw everything with pencil, then I would go over everything darker with the crayon. So I would cover up all my pencil lines. So we looked at Georgia O'Keeffe's The Red Poppy flower for inspiration. That was done in 1927. And that was a good example of one of her enlarged flower paintings. She kind of just zooms in on the flower. Okay, so after I have everything darker with my black crayon and all my lines are traced over, then I'm going to use these watercolor crayons. These ones are by Sargent. And again, you could just use regular watercolor paints if that's all you have. And then I did a little bit of coloring. So I don't need to press real hard. I can go pretty lightly. Good yellow. And then orange. And of course you could decide what colors you would like. Maybe you want to do rainbow colors on your flower. Different colored petals, that always looks pretty. I did actually red for mine, so I didn't have to color in the whole flower. I just sort of color in close to the center and then a little bit along the edges. So I would probably do this lesson in 2 parts. First part is the drawing and outlining. Second part, or second day of the lesson, would be the painting part and the watercolor crayons. So I was showing this to my daughter, and she really liked how there was some white left on the edges of this one. So I'm going to try to do that again when I color this time. So I'm just shading in a little bit of blue and a little bit of purple. And then a little bit of green. And then I'm going to use my just plain water, clean water, and a paintbrush. And then I can paint right on top of my watercolor crayons. And then they just sort of blend right in on the paper to look more like paint. I'm going to get a little more water. Now if I wanted to fill in the whole petal, I could just keep spreading this out. But I think I'm going to leave a little bit of white. Also, if I find that I am painting with these watercolor crayons and it's not dark enough, you can always let it dry completely and then add a little bit more of the watercolor crayons. So you can tell that Georgia O'Keeffe's paintings are pictures of flowers, but because they are so enlarged and zoomed in on, they're not supposed to look exactly like real life, which means that her art is abstract. I believe she often looked at real flowers. I've seen a picture of her sitting by a garden and observing the flowers with some watercolor paints next to her. So I hope that you enjoy the process of making a beautiful flower inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe. And I hope you have a fabulous day.